Previously on the Come Up
Today,
Next Level
that you
Mindset.
have a growing generation of emotionally weak men, to the point where there are a lot of males acting like females. Well, what caused all that? It's a lot of factors. Because it be an argument, and sometimes you have to ask, what's more important, being right or making peace? Right. And notice I didn't say keeping peace, because there's a difference between making peace and keeping peace. And I did not know that. And it wasn't until I went through the trauma that I dealt with, I realized that I was being passive aggressive. Taught me this is watching single parents, specifically more or less single mothers. They make it happen. They find a way to make it happen. Do they have the money that they think they should have or they would like? Most of them do not. But they gonna find a way to make sure that their children don't go without. In the process of that, you have to do that for yourself before you get that evil report, as we like to say it. Before you get that nasty diagnosis. You have to care enough about yourself to realize that you deserve it, that you worked your tail off to get to where you are. You may not be where you want to be, but thank God you're not where you used to be.
Hey, what's good, everybody? I'm Marwin Adair, and welcome to the Come Up Next Level Mindset. This is part 4 of dealing with emotional trauma with Arian Tyson. But before we get into this video, I ask that you do me a couple of favors. One, if you haven't seen part 1, 2, and 3, I encourage you to go back and look at those videos, because Arian Tyson is dropping a lot of good nuggets on how to deal with emotional trauma. And 2, like I always say, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit that notification button. And that way we can come up and go to the next level together. Thank you. The key word that you deserve it, because some people might feel guilty. Like, if I take off, then I'm gonna fall behind on this or whatever. And the guilt kick in, which is another emotion that people have to deal with. But, you know.
To that, the most valuable commodity we have in life, it's not money, it's time. We don't know how much time we have. Take it from someone who had to bury their father before their 65th birthday.
Or their son, and it's 21. So, yeah.
Take it from me. Take it from someone who's dealt with a considerable amount of loss. You don't have as much time as you think you do. So in the process of doing that, you have to learn how to work smarter, not harder. We heard it: work hard, play hard. Hard work pays off.
Right.
Does it? Or does working smarter pay off? Because we're seeing teenagers and folks in their 20s becoming millionaires.
It's all right.
What they know about working hard, like we know, growing up, how we labor. What do they know about that? They don't. But they learn how to work smarter and level up.
Yeah.
And in the process of doing that, one of my mentors, Dr. Eric Thomas, most folks know him as E.T. the hip hop preacher. I heard him say this 10 years ago, and it's stuck with me to this very day. We all have the same 24 hours. Our success or lack thereof depends on how we use the 24. Nobody has more time. We all got the same finite 24 hours. But if that means that you're going to have to get up a little earlier, rather than staying up later to get what you need to get completed. Aren't your dreams worth it?
Right.
Aren't your goals worth it? And if you don't think they worth it, then until you get the mindset that it is worth it, get around people that's going to tell you it's worth it. That will help level up your faith. Because that's what it come down to. But the problem is we want to know every little detail before we even take the first step. Dr. Martin Luther King said faith is being able to take the first step without being able to see the whole staircase. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
Having the courage to take the first step even when you can't see the whole staircase. That's about putting your faith in action. It's not enough to just say you want to do it, but you got to believe and put action to it.
Right.
A lot of folks believe, a lot of folks say they believe, but there's no action behind it. And when you don't have no action, there's no results. And then when you mention it, you get no response. Well, one thing I've learned in my life, that no response is a response. That's what I learned from my ex-wife. No response is a response. It's not a healthy response, but it's a response nevertheless. Can you be comfortable and move forward and trust God when you don't get the answer that you're looking for?
Right. Because sometimes people let that mess with them when they don't get that answer. But you said something about getting around other folks, right? Other people. And I think, and it's just my opinion, just sitting here talking, how much does environment plays with how people respond to their emotions? So we can go into now what you were saying you had for 2 years, because we talking about counseling.
Right.
Well, coming up, especially in the Black community, if you said anything about counseling, first thing coming out of people's mouth, what, they crazy? You know, and that's how we looked at counseling, as you got mental issues. And like one of the words is talking about mental health is a lot. And I mean, mental health don't mean that you insane or you schizophrenic or something like that, or bipolar, you know. But it could mean that you just got some emotional things that you need to deal with, man. And I'm realizing, or I'm just not recently just hearing this, man, that a lot of our bad decisions come from undealt with emotions.
Yeah.
You know, so we can get on into that because I know, like I said, you said it's been 2 years?
Yeah, it's been over 2 years.
And you told us.
I told y'all.
And when I say
less
us,
than
I'm
2
talking about
months
me and my
ago.
wife.
Less than 2 months ago. I told y'all less than 2 months ago.
So you talking about what, 2022?
January 2022 to be specific.
That's basically around the same time you started doing the self-care.
Just after. Yep.
Okay.
Self-care came first.
Okay.
And then when I developed that self-care, I had a conversation with my brothers. And I told them how I felt. And I told them they were the first and only people to know what I had decided to do. And what I decided to do, and mind you, this was 6 years after the death of my father, after being abandoned by my ex. That was that point that I decided.
So in that 6 year span, were you dealing with the emotions already, or do you think the emotional problems was just kind of lying dormant, if I may say?
It was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of both, because in that process, that's when I cut myself off from entertaining the relationships. A lot of times you see folks hopping from one relationship to another. I didn't do that. I didn't do that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I turned it off.
Right.
So I didn't go on a single date for 4 years
because of
abandonment,
distrust.
mistrust, just an unwillingness.
Yeah. So so you saying it can go both ways. You can either, like some people, they just go around dealing with emotions. So now they just sleeping with everybody and anybody.
Right. And I was the complete opposite.
But it was still some emotional drama.
Right.
Or trauma there. I said drama. Trauma there.
Right. Because of the fact that at some point, and mind you, I literally had a one-on-one, I had a heart-to-heart with God one day. And this was about 2019. Because I came across certain people. I'm just put it out here. I think I'm a catch. I think I'm a catch. If you was to ask most women what they look for in a man, I believe I check at least 80% of the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no kids, so I ain't got to deal with baby mama drama. I have a stable job, my own place, a car. I'm in church.
Now I got to interject, ladies. So if y'all looking at this right now, notice he has a ring on somebody already.
Well, we was gonna get to that. Because again, it's about progression.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do my own work in preparing for that.
Yeah.
So when I look at when COVID happened, God told me, and it's important to be obedient to what the Spirit tells you. Because if not, you can find yourself going through some unnecessary stuff. God told me to get off social media on March 1st, 2020. 2 weeks later is when the global shutdown happened. I was already off social media. I was off social media for 18 months. 18 months, exactly. In August of 2021, you and I had a conversation, and you told us we were talking about church stuff. You said that we were going to go back live. And so me being obedient to leadership, I reluctantly agreed to get back online. But I also told you that I had another purpose. I said, I know I'm supposed to be a husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, because I had done the work, because I had got myself into therapy, which you did not know at the time.
Right.
And I was having sessions every 2 weeks, well, every month, and then every 2 weeks. And now back to every month. I did the work on myself to position myself to where now I'm ready to open myself to be loved again.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing was, what led me to therapy was because I had someone approach me. And this is what I asked God for. And I said, God, I know a lot of women that I know I would be great for. But for some reason, they don't see it in me. So I said, for me to know, they're going to have to approach me. I had someone approach me. Someone was crushing on me for a year. I didn't even know. And then later I picked up on it. And we began talking. And there was a connection, there was chemistry, this, that, and other. And then all of a sudden, for reasons I don't know, things changed.
Doing counseling, self-care, this happened? Or
yeah, this was 2021.
So
This was 2021.
This was during the counseling session.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was 2021. Well, this was doing self-care.
Doing the self-care.
I had already established my monthly self-care. And matter of fact, let me retract something. It was November 2020 that I started my self-care.
Okay.
Not 2021. So I had already done my self-care, done that, becoming disciplined, being consistent with it, and started into therapy at the beginning of 2022.
Okay.
After getting back online, being obedient to the instruction. And less than 6 months after I got back online,
I remember.
a friend of mine, without talking to me, added me to a Christian Black singles group on Facebook. Now, I had a choice. I could either just remove myself because I don't like being added to groups without my permission. But I thought about it. I said, that's what I would normally do. But I took a risk. That's one of the principles in my book. That's the last principle in my book. Love is a risk. I risk making myself vulnerable. And I believe in being transparent. So instead of me removing myself from the group, I said, let me introduce myself and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that could happen? I introduced myself, laid it all out there. My inbox got hit up from hundreds of women all over the country. Some had kids, some didn't have kids. Some were younger, some were my age, some were older. Some were parents that had children around my age that they was trying to fix me up for. Some actually said if they were 10 years younger, they would try to holler at me.
Mm-hmm.
From all walks. But all you need is one. 4 days after I made that post, and to me, I don't like being ignored. I responded to every single person that made a comment or they slid in my inbox. I responded to everybody because I know how it feels to be ignored.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to disrespect anyone like that by just ignoring them because I know how that feels. And I don't like it.
Right.
4 days later, a certain young lady who was in the other section, because in Messenger, you have those that you get messages from your friends and then you get messages from other people that ain't on your friends list. She introduced herself. And it was something different about her. We had a lot of things in common. And I had put it out there that I wasn't dating long distance. I wasn't interested. But that didn't stop folks from sliding in. Folks in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Louisiana, Texas. After I had already said, been there, done that, right. I'm not interested. Okay? That means you don't listen very well. So this woman was close enough by. About an hour and a half away. And it was the way she presented herself.
Mm-hmm.
We began to talk, had a conversation. A couple weeks later, because I was celebrating my birthday. A couple weeks later, we went on our first date. Today, we're married.
Yep.
And this happened within less than 2 years. One thing that I say as a man, men know whether or not they can envision a life with somebody. It don't take, and I know folks, we have these folks that's in these relationships 5, 10 years. It don't take that long. It don't. Especially when you're intentional.
Right.
It don't take that long. It's whether or not you're going to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though she slid in my inbox, which I would never let her live down, how did y'all meet? She slid in my inbox. That's exactly how it happened.
Right.
No fluff behind it. No trying to stick out my chest or whatever. No, she slid in my, that's exactly how it happened. Somebody added me to a group without my permission. I introduced myself to the group. She made herself be known by sliding into my inbox, and the rest is history that's still being written.
Right.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
I proposed to that woman on July 30th, 2023. We got married on November 26th, 2023. After I introduced myself in that group in February of 2022, that is less than 2 years.
Yep. So we out of time. But I want to say this before we go. I want to say a couple of things because it was probably the different, we say that you kind of attract what's in you, so you start attracting different things when you started dealing with a lot of emotion. But I want to say this, you all, if you want to get Arian Tyson's book, is Love Me or Hate Me, My Journey from Motivation to Elevation. You want to tell them where they can get this at? And then tell them about your podcast. Okay.
It is on Amazon. That book is on Amazon. That's where you can get it from. And if you send me an email to ariantyson@gmail.com telling me that you purchased the book and you want me to sign it, I will actually send you a signed copy. And I'm not the type of person that just sends you a standard message. I'm going to send you something that's from the heart, because what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And then with the podcast, I launched my podcast in November of 2016, and we called it Motivation to Elevation, which led to the book being created. And I'm actually going to relaunch my podcast this summer. And it's going to be Motivation to Elevation. We're going to keep the same name. But we're going to really tackle some topics that are really prevalent that's going to help us level up and become the best versions of ourselves, because too many people have limited us. But we serve a limitless God. So it's time for us to tap into our unlimited, untapped potential. It's time out for just living on potential. It's time to see the harvest. It's time to see the fruit.
Right.
But you're going to see fruit when you know you got seed in the ground. I have a lot of seed in the ground. If you check me out on YouTube, just put my name in. I got over 1,200 videos on YouTube. And I ain't shot a video in a while, but guess what? The movie Motivator is about to make his return.
No, that's right.
He's about to make his return real soon. And one thing that they can tell you about me, I'm very careful with my words. I don't say something unless I'm going to do it. So you can take that to the bank. It's coming. Book number 2, the follow-up to Love Me or Hate Me, My Journey from Motivation to Elevation. It's coming. It's coming. And because I took my time with this one, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to step on some toes. But in this season, it's necessary, because God wants more for you than what you actually want for yourself. Don't let people limit you. You ain't been through what you've been through just to go through what you've gone through. Take it from me. I don't look like what I've been through. But I'm a husband. I'm a father now. I'm a godfather, which I didn't even mention my godsons. My godsons are part of the reason that I'm married now, because I became a godfather in the midst of the emotional trauma. I didn't even think I was qualified. But God doesn't always call the qualified, but he qualifies the called. You're looking at one of them. So man said I was not qualified, but God called me. So I'm going to hold on to God's report. I'm going to believe God's report. and not man's. Man says I'm not supposed to be here. As a kid who suffered with lead poisoning and speech delay, that's one of the reasons I gravitated to a mentor in Les Brown. And I'm the living embodiment of what he said years ago. If you get knocked down, land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
I know that's right.
I got up, not on my own strength, but because of men like this man that I'm sitting next to, that poured into me even before he became my leader, like his beautiful wife. I'm here because I did the work, and I have the results because I did the work. It's time for you to do your work. Stop acting like you're okay when you're not. It's time for you to be honest with yourself and get around people that's going to pour into you, that's going to believe in you and help you get your faith level up to where you start believing in yourself and trust the God that has infinite windows in heaven. If he can bless me, if he can bless us, he can bless you. Believe that.
Right on, brother. Good words, man. Again, brother, I appreciate you being here. You're my first guest on the Come Up Next Level Mindset. And y'all, we just want to help you. We want to help people. That's my whole goal, is to help people become better in life. I don't care what area this in. It's all about growing. And that's what this is all about, helping us to grow, to become better. Hey, everybody.
Yes, indeed.
Listen, I personally want to thank you for tuning in to the Come Up Next Level Mindset, and for watching part 4 of Dealing with Emotional Trauma with Arian Tyson. My hope is that you got an answer to something that you've been searching for. Maybe you was dealing with an emotion that you was going through and we gave you an answer. But this is what this is all about. People helping people go to another level. So if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe, that like, and that notification button. That way we can come up and go to the next level together. I am your host, Marwin Adair, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Come Up Next Level Mindset. Peace.